Greetings, everyone. This is RKrivo with our chart drill down for Tuesday, October 4th, 2016. It's been a few months, several months, since I've done one of these. And over that time, I've moved cross country from Dallas to Minneapolis. And during that time, I pretty much shut down my trading. I found this works for me anyway. I don't know if it works for others or applies to other people, but I found that if something major is going on in my life, a move in this particular case for me, it's best for me not to trade with only half my head in the game. So now that that's all behind me, I'm looking forward to the fall. Markets generally tend to be in a more trending state of mind. That being said, we do have a presidential election coming up, which is definitely on the mind of the market. So if markets do trend, the Donchian channel strategy may be guiding us into some trending moves. And if the markets comply, that should be a good thing for us. Last week on September 20th, based on the Donchian channel strategy, I shorted the pound dollar, and so far that is working out as the trade is up about either side of 250 pips last time I looked about an hour or so ago. Now remember, as always, my objective in each of these chart drill down videos is to show you how I go about identifying the strongest trending pairs, those that are more likely, though not guaranteed, to turn into winning trades. And I use the Donchian channel trading strategy as my go-to strategy to kind of shepherd me into the trades. Now, if you have any questions about any of the indicators I use on my charts or why they're set up the way they are, please refer to the YouTube video dated May 11th, 2015. It's entitled Chart Tutorial, and there you'll find a explanation about why and how I do what I do with the charts. And if you still have any questions, feel free to email them to me at RKrivo, here it is on the slide, RKrivoFX @gmail.com. Now remember, these charting drill downs are for instructional purposes. They're designed to show you how I identify these higher probability trading pairs. Now, any of the setups that I show you by no means guarantees that any of these trades are going to ultimately turn into a winning trade. I'm simply showing you what has worked for me, and it may or may not work for you. Now, again, trading is all about probabilities, identifying a trading edge, something that we can exploit to provide us with a higher probability trading opportunity. The more of those we can identify, the greater the likelihood that we may be profitable at the end of a week, a month, a quarter, or a year. Now, with that, let's go over the disclaimers. And here we go, just the risk disclaimers, bullet points. Trading foreign exchange involves significant levels of risk. Traders, you should only be trading with risk capital. Do not trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. High degree of leverage can work both ways, for you and against you. And again, the content provided herein is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended as specific trading recommendations. Okay, let's take a look at the charts. As you may recall, I use a strong, weak currency analysis to point me in the direction of the pairs that are in the stronger trends, and then I look at those pairs on the chart to show me if there is a viable entry at that point. Now, if you want to know more about that particular strong weak analysis, feel free to email me at RKrivoFX @gmail. Also, I am on Twitter, and my handle is at RKrivoFX, and I tweet the strong weak analysis out each and every morning. So the most recent strong weak analysis that I did, which was about 30 minutes ago, indicated that the Aussie was the strongest currency and the pound was the weakest. So that's my first stop on the charts as I drill them down. So armed with that information, let's first go to a chart of the pound Aussie. And what we have here, here's a weekly, a daily, a 4-hour, and a 1-hour multiple time frame analysis. And what I'm seeing based on the Donchian channel strategy and a few other things here that I have on the charts is the pair is in an obvious downtrend. It's making lower highs and lower lows on the weekly chart. It continues to take out the lower Donchian channel and has not touched the upper Donchian channel on the weekly chart since August 22nd of 2015, so quite some time. So based on that, on the weekly, downtrend going on, and I see as I go back to the daily chart that we have a downtrend going on there too on the pound Aussie. It rallied up here and took out the upper Donchian channel just a little bit, came back down, and on the 20th, took out the lower Donchian channel. So everything I'm seeing here, price action is below the 200 period moving average as well on both those charts. The green line is the 200 period moving average. Indicates to me I'm only looking to sell this pair. That's all I want to do with it. I'm a trend trader. That's all I want to do is sell the pair. And I can do that by entering in the direction of the trend off of, for my strategy, a 4-hour or a 1-hour chart. So what I'm looking at here is the ideal situation for the Donchian channel strategy is when price action in a downtrend moves back up on a 4-hour or 1-hour chart, touches the upper channel, and then comes down and takes out the lower channel. So based on that, I'm not seeing anything here at this point because we're still about 260 some odd pips away from that upper channel. Now, if I were a very aggressive trader, and I'm not, I tend not to be, I tend to be cautious, maybe overly cautious sometimes. We've had a nice rally, a nice pullback here to the upside against the trend. And given that, it's not all the way up here, but it's a nice pullback to a previous level of resistance. One, again, if one is an aggressive trader, one could short the pair or enter a price alarm when price reaches that lower channel, which is about 166.05, about 85, 90 pips from where the pair is trading right now. That would be a more aggressive trade because ideally, again, as I mentioned, I want to look for a full pullback and then a move back in the direction of the trend. Let's go to a smaller time frame chart, or not a smaller time frame, but make the chart a little bit smaller so you can see all four. So what I'm looking for is first I identify the direction of the trend based on the weekly and the daily charts. Downtrend, no question about it. So I'm looking for a way to get short this particular pair. Once I see a pair is in a downtrend, I'm not just going to jump in and short the pair immediately. I want to look for an entry, again, a higher probability situation, and that would be if and when price takes out 1.6606. Ideally, you can set a price alarm at that level so you can come and check out and see how the pound Aussie is moving. If the pound is weak across the board, in other words, all pound pairs are weak and all Aussie pairs are strong, that's a better indication that this trade is more likely, the pound Aussie trade is more likely to follow through and turn into those winning trades that we all seek. I mentioned to you about that pound dollar trade, and I can show you how that kind of set up here. Here we have the pound dollar chart set up the same way we did before, weekly, daily, 4-hour, 1-hour. Again, we can see it's in a downtrend because price action on the weekly chart has touched the upper channel, taken out the lower channel. It took out the lower channel on June 18th of this year, this past summer, and has continued to move down. I mean, we had oscillations here. Summertime will do that to you sometimes, where there's, not maybe tons of movement in the market or as much as we'd like to see, especially, as trend traders off longer term charts. But again, it continues to press lower, as we can see here. And also on the daily chart, we can see it took out the upper channel and oscillated quite a bit, took out the upper channel just a tad, and has taken out the lower channel and has moved down. Now, I got in the pair on the 20th of last month, 20th of September. Here's the 16th, which was a Friday. There's the 19th, which I believe was a Sunday. And then here's the 20th. That's when I got in. Let me expand that a little bit so you can see. This is where I got in on the 20th. Expand a little bit here. 20th, with Donchian channel strategy, we get in after price touches the upper channel, takes out the lower channel, stop goes above the upper channel. As price action continues to move to the downside, hopefully, no guarantees on that, the upper Donchian channel will move lower as well. So what I end up doing is I just trail my stop. As that upper Donchian channel moves down, I move my stop down. And that's the Donchian channel strategy in a nutshell. And it's continuing, as we can see here, to move to the downside. Now, as far as entering this trade right now, as the old expression goes, the train has left the station here, and I don't like to enter after a pair has been moving dramatically to the downside, as this has been doing recently. So what I'd be waiting for here is I'd be waiting for a pullback to ideally the upper Donchian channel. There's also a middle Donchian channel that you can put in. I normally don't use it. You can just kind of eyeball it and figure about where it is, right about there. So if we get a pullback, maybe to that level, and price action stalls at that level, then I would be getting in, short back in the direction of the longer term trend, which we can see is to the downside based on what we see on the weekly and on the daily charts. Let's take a look here at another pair that's trending. We said the pound Aussie. Let's go to the pound is the weakest currency, the Aussie is the strongest. Let's go to the second weakest currency and pit it against the second strongest currency right now, which is the New Zealand US dollar. Let's see what might be going on there. This is how I use that strong weak analysis. It just points me in the direction, of the pairs. Now here we've got a little different scenario going on. On the weekly chart, you can see price has been making higher highs and higher lows and continues to move the upper Donchian channel on the weekly chart up. And we shift over to a daily chart. This is in a pair that potentially is in transition by seeing what's going on here. And here we had price action like with the other dollar pair, the pound dollar pair that we mentioned. It was kind of oscillating back and forth there. Then it took out the upper channel, and now it's taking out the lower channel. So we've got Donchian channel showing us there's an uptrend on the weekly and a downtrend on the daily. Okay, let's go down to the lower time frame charts. I mean, something's going to start first on the smaller time frames, and then it's going to start to carry through. So the fact that this is showing potential downtrend on the daily chart here, we want to look to our lower time frames to see if we can get into a situation where we can get in short. We'd be getting in short early because this is not confirmed yet on the weekly chart. Whenever I get into a trade earlier with both the weekly and the daily, not necessarily showing the same signal, I tend to go into the trade a little bit lighter. Smaller position size, and then I can always scale in more should the trade continue to move in my direction. But we can see here on the 4-hour, we had this nice oscillation, a bit of a range in here for a while, and then it broke the lower channel. And it also touched the upper channel here, broke the lower one. So again, I could get in short and early on this particular trade, but like I said, this train has already left the station as well. What I'd be looking for is a pullback, and then for price action to stall. Ideally, a pullback to the upper channel, maybe in this case, a pullback to the 200 period moving average if it stalls right there, and then we can get in. You can get in at the turn, a much more aggressive trade, not Donchian strategy, or you can wait for price to stall, go down and take out that lower Donchian channel and get into the trade from that point. Two words that traders don't often like to hear, but very important in trading: patience and discipline. So I got a little windy here at the beginning because it's first time back for a while. We just looked at 2 or 3 currency pairs. We're going to be going into this in more detail. Please feel free to shoot me any questions that you might have. But of the pairs that we looked at, there's nothing pending right now at this point. So patience and discipline, waiting for the longer term trends to set up more, waiting for pullbacks to occur so we can get back into the direction of the trend, or waiting for a trend to set up right from the get-go. So anyway, good to be back, and thank you so much for viewing these, and let me know if you have any questions. We'll talk to you soon.